Welcome everyone to another episode of Parker's Podcast. Today I'm going to talk about social media, but before I do that, I just want to thank the folks at Accordance Bible Software for providing the microphone that I use for recording Parker's Podcast. During the month of September, you can pick up the basic starter collection from Accordance for only $9.99. There's over $239 worth of Bible study materials in this collection for that super low price. Plus, you get the full Accordance app and engine there for your Bible study. And if you know anyone that is involved in Spanish ministry, they have also launched the Spanish Specialty Starter Collection for $59.50 that's on sale during the month of September as well. So it's a great collection full of Spanish modules and resources for the Spanish ministry. So check out both of those at accordancebible.com today and share these with your friends and family. So I decided to do this in the form of a podcast. I do have a couple of newsletter articles going out as well on this topic, but I also wanted to cover this in a podcast. So I have scaled back my social media consumption and use in general. And I'd like to talk a little bit about why I've done it and why I recommend others do it as well. I think Exhibit A for this would be Charlie Kirk's recent murder. Is evidence of the cesspool that is found across most major social media platforms. I saw footage, I saw videos that were posted on social media platforms where people were just cheering on a murder of Charlie Kirk. When he was murdered, they were just acting glad that the murder happened. And it really shows evidence that social media has become a complete and utter cesspool. And I agree with Cal Newport. He sent out a newsletter shortly after Charlie Kirk's murder and said we would be better off if we abandoned social media altogether. He recognizes the cesspool that it is, and he believes that if we just completely shut down social media and abandoned it altogether, our world would be better off. And honestly, I agree with him. This is the way I look at social media. I look at social media as a drug. Now, some social media companies or drugs maybe have higher quality, some have lower quality, but they're really all a drug that engages in technology addiction. The whole key of social media, regardless of how well it's designed or how poorly it's designed, the whole point of it is to engage in keeping the person addicted to technology and addicted to the social media platform. It fuels outrage, it fuels problems with dopamine, it fuels problems with people having depressive thoughts, and they're just addicted to these devices, their phones, their tablets, their computers, and they're just being just overloaded with this consumption of social media. When there's a real world out there besides social media that people need to get involved in, get off of social media, and go and explore the real world. I read about this years ago in Josh Hawley's book on the tyranny of big tech, how social media turned the iPhone into a device that it wasn't originally designed to be. So when the iPhone was originally designed, it was designed to basically be three devices in one. It was going to be a widescreen iPod, so an iPod that you could watch videos on, plus just have these touch controls for controlling your music, plus a phone, plus an internet communication device. It didn't even have apps on the first iPhone that came out. There were some web apps that some people had designed, but you would browse the internet, check email, do a handful of things on your iPhone, plus you'd have your phone, plus a widescreen iPod. It was meant to be a convenience. But social media apps turned the iPhone and smartphones in general into this device that basically sucks you into this device and tries to keep you addicted to the device and on the device constantly and engaging in the social media platform. In fact, back when I had a Facebook account, which I no longer do, there were times when I said, I just don't want to engage in Facebook, but I'd have the app on my phone and I would get a push alert from Facebook saying, well, you need to go check out what this person posted or this video or this photo that someone posted, or they would start pushing alerts out the less I engaged in the app, trying to suck me in, draw me in, and say, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And the whole point is technology addiction, trying to keep you addicted on their platform so they can take their information, sell it to advertisers, and keep you using the platform so that they can turn you into a product. For a while, I did quit social media cold turkey. And when I did, I had a much more peaceful life because of it. And honestly, I would love to just quit social media cold turkey and not use it at all. I did have to rejoin social media a little bit to promote my PhD dissertation. My publisher asked me to go ahead and set up some form of social media page or pages so that I could promote my PhD dissertation that I had published out there to help increase book sales. But I'm still very limited in how I use social media. And here are some of the reasons why I originally quit social media entirely, and why I'm not using it still extensively and just very limited of what I do on social media. So one, I wanted to take control of my privacy. I know that most social media companies, there's a few exceptions, but most social media companies, the whole goal is to keep you on the platform so that they can take your user data and sell it to advertisers, and that is how they make money. You're basically the product. Now, there's a few exceptions where some have tried to have a stronger privacy stance and sell a subscription or sell some form of services on the side as a means to make revenue, and that's a little bit better of a model, but still, I wanted to take control of my privacy, and limiting what I post out there on social media helps me to do just that. And limiting how I engage in social media and how I interact on social media allows me to be in the driver's seat on my personal privacy. I also noticed one-sided censorship a lot of times with social media. Back before Twitter was taken over by Elon Musk, which has now been rebranded as X, I used to post weather reports out there, and Twitter would try to flag them and censor them, and a lot of times not allow my weather reports to get out there. And these were backed fully by science. I had thousands of dollars worth of weather data and graphics backing my weather reports that were out there, but still I had a hard time getting that content out to people on social media. I've also been censored by Facebook, and I'm going to talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Plus, I was still able to, in general, find jobs and promote work without it. My job that recently ended at Earth Networks and AEM, I started that job with them before social media even existed, and was able to find the job basically through email communication. My current job at Accordance Bible Software, I also was able to find through email without going on social media. So it is possible to find jobs and promote work. I've promoted work through my website, parkernathan.com, through my newsletters, even without the means of social media. It's been decent on the side for promoting my book, and moving forward, I am going to have a LinkedIn page to help me locate future jobs, but it's not essential to finding a job or promoting work. There's some supplemental benefits that can be done with it, but at the same time, there are ways to work around it. I actually prefer newsletters and blogging to social media posts, and here's why. One, I prefer more context, which also gives me the ability to write longer articles. On social media, especially back when Twitter or X had the character limits, and even I've noticed on social media in general, everything's these bite-sized pieces, and there's really no context to what you're putting out there. You're just kind of thinking off the top of your head, and you're posting these short little posts out there. But there's no true context to what you're posting. When I'm writing a newsletter that goes out on Substack or Patreon, or produce a weather blog post, I have time to think about what I'm writing, and I can give context, and I can write a longer article and really put some thought into what I'm writing and communicate something that's actually worth reading and digesting and has thought and has context and lets you truly benefit from what information I'm wishing to share with someone else. And the same with my weather reports. I've also noticed when I use a newsletter platform or a weather blog platform, there's a lot less noise, and it's not, what I'm having to say is not drowned out because more people are actually reading them. That when I'm posting stuff on social media, a lot of times I don't even know if people are really seeing what I'm posting or reading what I'm posting, because there's so much noise out there in this sea of noise that a lot of times what I could post may get drowned out. Whereas if somebody is an email subscriber to my newsletter or follows my weather blog, I know that people are actually reading the content and getting something out of the content, so that when I am producing content, I know that it's actually going for a purpose and actually serving someone. As well as there are targeted audiences as well. Again, the people are actually reading what I'm posting on a newsletter or a weather blog instead of just posting to this blank wall that's out there. There are times when I've even, just to see if people are really reading my post on social media, I'll throw up a poll, I'll do something, even a fun poll, I'll post something like with a humorous question or something, and provide a couple of answers and see how many people answer back. And a lot of times I'll get no answers or very few answers that come back. Or even if I'm asking for advice on social media, I've noticed a lot of times I'm not getting that much response back. Whereas when I'm posting on my weather blog, when I'm posting on my newsletter, I know that people are actually reading the content, because I'll actually speak with people that I know that follow my weather blog or my newsletter or even this podcast, and say, I enjoyed that podcast episode, or I enjoyed that newsletter that you wrote. It's very beneficial. And so I know that people are actually reading the content instead of it just kind of going out there on this blank wall. And I believe that that's a better investment of my time. I believe that if I'm going to produce information, I want to produce information that people are actually going to read, people are actually going to benefit from. If I'm going to share information, I want to make sure that people are actually getting true value out of it. And I'm seeing that in blogging and in my newsletters, not seeing it as much on social media. So if you do quit social media cold turkey, or if you at least scale it back, what are some good alternatives to social media that you can incorporate into your life instead? Well, first, I would recommend shifting more of your communication to traditional methods. So call a person on the phone. It's so much more effective than messaging them over social media. Or if you don't have time for a phone call, send a text. And I'm still not a big text fan. I kind of like the phone call better than the text. But texting has its place for sure, especially when I don't have time to call someone. That's still more personal than trying to message someone on social media. Email, of course, is great when you have something longer to say and you include context in the message. Go back to the good old-fashioned written letter. Send a card, write a letter, sit down and be able to really think about what you're saying and communicate that through the medium of the written letter. It's just so much more personal. Personal visits, going and visiting someone in person, face-to-face, and having that personal visit instead of just communicating with everyone over social media. Also, starting a hobby. It's another great way to scale your time back on social media and engage in something that's more productive. If you want to still be involved in a form of social media that's been around for years, don't forget ham radio. It's a great form of social media that never really goes out of style. It's easy to get your ham radio license now. If you go to aarg.club, I am a ham radio volunteer examiner. I have an extra class ham radio license. My call sign is N5PKR, November 5 Papa Kilo Romeo, if I give it in ITU phonetics. And I can help you get a ham radio license. If you don't have one already, you study, you take the exam, you pass the exam, and now that it can be done online, it's easier than ever. Get yourself a ham radio and go and communicate with people over ham radio. Plus, you can also do it over a computer or phone using Echolink while you're building out your ham radio equipment, especially that is useful. And it's a form of social media that never dies. And the best part about it is that you're not going to be interacting with bots and wacky stuff, because people actually have to pay a fee and pass an exam in order to get on there. So it makes it a little bit more curated on who is actually interacting on the radio with you. You can also start a vegetable garden. We've been trying to do that. Me and my family's been trying to do some vegetable gardening out back. Arkansas weathers hadn't been too cooperative for the past few years, so we haven't gotten as much out of our vegetable garden as we wanted. But it is a great hobby to get you outdoors, get you away from technology, and experience that. Another one that I'm trying to kind of get back into after years of being out of it is photography. I've got a really nice DSLR sitting in my closet that I'm trying to drag out and learn how to use more, and trying to see what I can get out of that, and taking pictures, and also a pocket camera as well that's not tied to my phone, so I can take pictures and kind of enjoy that as well. It's another way to get you away from the devices and be able to enjoy taking some great pictures. And not everyone needs to go out and buy an expensive DSLR. I would recommend, if you get into anything to do with photography, at least buy a real point and shoot camera, and don't just rely on your phone. Get off the phone. Even though your phone's a good camera, get off the phone, get away from the phone, and actually use a real camera to spend some time less on social media and enjoy a hobby that's rewarding. You can also read a book or engage in some form of learning. A lot of times when I'm working, I'll be listening to a podcast or some form of video that will help me learn, or an audio book. I also frequently read as well. I try to learn new things and increase my learning instead of just wasting my time on social media. Take a walk outside as well. Just get outside, get away from your devices, and get away from your computers, your phones, social media. If you haven't traveled in a while, take a vacation, go see somewhere new, but do it in a way where you're not just sitting there tied on social media the whole time. Enjoy yourself. If you're going to use social media, then I'm going to give a few pointers on that. One, use social media for a purpose. For example, I will use X, formerly Twitter, to look at updates from DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, once a day. I like to see where my taxpayer dollars have been saved. And now that Mike Huckabee is the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, he's been posting updates on there. And I am interested in hearing what Huckabee has to say about Israel, so I do want to check in with his updates there. I also am on Truth Social, and I check that daily so I can see what President Trump has to say, because that's one of his primary ways of communicating. So I do check that out. Plus, I keep the accounts handy because I am using my Truth Social account so that I can access streaming video on the free Truth Plus TV service. I'm also using X's AI platform, occasionally for dabbling and learning AI. Plus, I've recently returned to LinkedIn so I can have a virtual resume up and allow people to know what kind of skills I have. Limit what days you use social media. There's only a few days out of the week that I'll actually post content on social media. The rest of the time, I'm very limited to what I do and just read those few things. So limit what days you're actually using it. It helps. Don't install the social media apps on your smartphone or tablet. Run them in the web browser. And what I found when doing that is the experience is a little clunky. But I like clunky in this case because if it's uncomfortable and clunky, then when I'm interacting on social media, I want to limit my time on it. If the experience is too smooth and everything's just running nice and smooth, then I'm going to spend more time interacting on social media, more time than I should be. If the experience is kind of clunky and I'm sitting there going, I'm not, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with this clunky filling experience, then that causes me to want to get off of social media quicker and walk away. Only follow or be friends with people that you know, or brands or people you truly wish to interact with. And even then, limit those interactions to quality, not quantity interactions. So there's a handful of people on social media that I follow or engage with. And for those, I will be involved in very quality interactions with them that has a purpose, not just interacting just for the sake of interacting. The other thing I would say is don't interact with the nuts. There's a lot of bots out there. There's a lot of nutty people out there that will try to post stuff and try to engage on social media. A lot of scammers on there. One trend I've noticed on a couple of these social media platforms is someone will try to strike up a conversation with you, try to become friendly. They'll want to then get you onto another social media platform like Discord or Telegram, and then they're going to want to ask you for money for a donation, or they're going to want to try to sell you something, and most of the time those are scammers. Sometimes there's even real people on there that are just still nutty, that just want to waste their lives on social media, and when they try to interact with you, just don't interact with them. Just ignore them. Ignore the nuts, and if you're going to be on there, do what you need to do and ignore them. And sometimes there's people on social media that will try to post back and say, well, we don't know if you're a real person or a bot, and they're trying to get you to interact. Just don't interact with them. Just totally ignore them. So I want to give a brief rundown of the various social media platforms that are out there that I've used over the years, the ones I'm on, the ones I'm not on, and my quick review about them. And then that's going to wrap up this podcast. So I'm not on anything that's owned by Meta company anymore. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram, WhatsApp, or Threads. I was censored on Facebook for my PhD dissertation. I had a Facebook account years ago, and I shut it down when I did my social media cold turkey quit. And then I was going to set up a Facebook page to promote my PhD dissertation, and just very limited use it just to promote my PhD dissertation. But within hours of setting it up, Facebook permanently shut it down, and I don't have a way to restore and create a new page there on social media. A lot of people are saying that they believe that it was AI gone wrong, where because Israel's in the title of my book, even though it's a pro-Israel book that refutes supersessionism, that somehow it still got flagged. I don't care really what happened on that front. I have no interest in Facebook whatsoever, and I will sell my book without Facebook. But if you want to know what the book is that Facebook does not want you to read, go to my website at parkernathan.com and buy yourself a copy, and then you'll find out. And I'm not going to be on any of their other platforms either. I have no interest in Instagram and sharing photos on there. I have no interest in their new Threads platform. I have no interest in WhatsApp either. There are people overseas that I need to communicate with, but I will just have to communicate with them over either traditional phone calling or email. Occasionally, I have a free Flickr account, and so now that I'm trying to do a little more with photography, I may occasionally post a photo on Flickr. Not going to pay for Flickr Pro. I've tried to engage in a couple of their forums and communities on there related to my DSLR model. I'm not seeing a whole lot of interaction, so I'm probably going to very limit my time there as well. Like I said, I am on X, formerly Twitter. I'm going to keep the account around no matter what, just for their AI platform, so that I have a way to perform tests on that, because I do get asked about AI and stuff, and so I need the ability to test that. I'm going to very limit interact what I do there. I will promote my PhD dissertation on there, and like I said, I am currently checking it once a day for updates on Doge and from Ambassador Huckabee. Not going to go on Mastodon, except for the forks of Mastodon that I already have an account on, like Truth Social. But I'm not going on Mastodon. I just have no use for that at the moment. I'm not going to engage that much on social media to make that happen. Again, I do have I recently got back on LinkedIn on the free account only. Just basically to have a virtual resume up there and to let people know, especially now that I'm no longer working for AEM, if people need to find a virtual resume of me during the job hunt, that's just a free place to put it out there. Although I still have my resume up on parkernathan.com as well. Have no interest in paying for LinkedIn Premium. I've added some connections on there from people that I know. But other than that, I don't see myself engaging a whole lot on there, but just taking advantage of it as another great place to have a virtual resume. That's probably going to be the extent of that. Truth Social, I'm going to keep that account around because I do need it to use the Truth Plus streaming TV app, because that's where I watch and DVR Weather Nation and also some church programming. Plus, right now I'm using it to read what President Trump has to say each day. That's about the extent I'm going to do on that one. Not going to be paying for their paid packages because I have no use for them at the moment. Parler, I was on there before the AWS shutdown happened back a while back. I was basically using it as a Twitter alternative and posting weather reports on there. I know they're back online now, but I'm not really going to be rejoining that and engaging there. I wish them well, but at the moment I just don't really see any use for me on there since I'm limiting my time on social media. MeWe was another one that I was on for a while. When I got off of major social media, I gave them a try. Not a bad platform. There's some good groups and some decent discussions on there, but again, since I'm limiting my time on social media, I'm not going to be rejoining them. I shut it down. Nice business model where it was more based on you could buy something or subscribe to a service instead of having all the advertising and all of that. And I did learn some things during that time. I had a Linux computer and there were some gardening questions and stuff, so I learned some things for some of the groups on there, but at the moment I just don't have any use for rejoining it. But it was to me a more peaceful alternative to Facebook, I'll put it that way. Not going to be on Gab either. I did give it a try as well back when I had explored the alternative social media platforms. The biggest beef I had with them is that I'm fine with a free speech platform in general, but my problem was of who they were promoting on the platform. Now, there's a difference between allowing and promoting. Some of the people that they promoted on their platform, like Nick Fuentes and some others that have been against Israel, that have denied the Holocaust. I have definitely some issues there. A lot of widespread supersessionism being promoted on the platform, which I'm also highly against. And again, I have I consider a distinction between allowing free speech and then promoting certain people. Even if I disagree with a person, if a person wants to be supersessionist, if a person is, if a person wants to have stupid beliefs, And if they want to deny history, that's their private belief. And even if they're allowed online as a means of free speech, that is one thing. But to me, what crossed the line with them was they went beyond allowing this, very just irrational speech and behavior to promoting it. When they started promoting it, so that when you're logging into the platform, you're seeing that in your face constantly. The CEO of the company was promoting people like that. That's where I have the problem there. That type of speech was being promoted and normalized as these are future leaders, and they're not going to be future leaders. These are some fringe people that have very stupid and foolish thought patterns. And I'm not saying that social media platforms need to ban them. I'm not saying that social media platforms need to restrict them. They have a right to free speech. They have a right to their foolish beliefs, and I would be fine with debating them in a public square situation where if they want to spew their foolishness, spew it, and let's debate it. But the fact that they are being promoted and considered these mainstream future leaders, that's just not the case, and that was my biggest issue with them. And I did not feel like that it was a platform that I could endorse because of that. And once I saw how prevalent the supersessionism was, those that were against Israel, denying the Holocaust, I said no, that this is not going to be a social media platform that I can endorse or be a member of. There was another platform, Minds, that someone had invited me to. I was on it temporarily, shut it down. It was really kind of had this heavy thing with tokens and crypto type stuff, and that's just not something I'm going to be getting into. And so I didn't understand it enough, and I said, this is not something I want to do. I did try out the other free speech platform, Getter, when it launched at the time, shortly before Truth Social launched. And I just had a lot of tech issues with it. And I think a lot of their accounts got hacked shortly after it launched. And so it was kind of an in and out situation where I said, this is not my thing. So I shut my account down there. Diamond and Silk had their own social media platform at one time called ChatDit. I had tried their platform as well. Didn't get a lot of interaction on there. I think one person was following me, which the person seemed pretty nice, but I wasn't getting enough interaction there for it to matter. I don't even know if that platform is even still active now that one of those members has passed away, which still praying for their family and sorry about that passing. On Mike Lindell's Frank Speech platform, I was also willing to give it a try and see if it lived up to its hype. I never could actually do anything on the platform as a type of social media. He basically was focusing solely on video streaming at the time. So I'm not going to be really doing any interacting there. Even if he morphs it into social media like he originally had planned, I just don't see myself doing anything on that platform at the moment. But I'll admit, his MyPillow is a nice product, and he's done some good in his life, and his book is very entertaining if you've not read that. So, I highly recommend giving that a read. And thankful for what he's done, but I just don't see myself actually interacting on the platform. Have no interest in Blue Sky whatsoever. I know some people left Twitter after it was taken over by Elon Musk and went over to Blue Sky. There's a bunch of leftists over there that's involved in the moderation, and it's even our vice president's account got shut down shortly after that. And I've been censored enough after going through Facebook. I have no interest in going with a platform like that. So won't be using that. Not going to be using TikTok either. I know that there's going to be some form of sale of TikTok, and the data is going to be transferred to U.S. servers and outside of China's hands, but still have no interest in it either. This definitely not going to be my thing. I don't care who owns it, whether China owns it. I mean, with China owning it, I have zero interest in it whatsoever. Even if China is not owning it and it was owned by a 100% U.S. company hosted on U.S. servers, I still have no interest in it whatsoever. Tried Pinterest as well years ago and have no interest in that either. I didn't quite understand how it worked, and I see no meaningful use for it in my work. Reddit, I'm not going to be signing up for an account with Reddit. One, I've heard that it's owned, has some type of Chinese company that may be backing it or owning it. I'm not 100% sure the accuracy of that. I have read some posts from Reddit through search engines when looking up answers, but I'm not going to be doing much with it because I've seen that it's kind of its own cesspool as well. So I just really have no interest in that as one that I would join or contribute to. And if you're hearing some thunder or some background noise, we are having a storm here. While I was in Georgia, I had used Foursquare as a social media platform when I would check into the mall and go different places around Georgia, or when I did my weather reports. They were kind of fun because I could tie them to locations. Kind of once I got out of doing those weather reports, though, I shut that page down, and I really have no interest in rejoining them. Nextdoor, I had tried that because there's one here that not really for this neighborhood, but kind of for this whole general area where you could interact with each other across Hot Springs. Tried it for a while, but just wasn't really my thing, so I also shut that down as well. The other place that I was censored on was academia.edu. I was using it to host my papers that I had written in seminary and a means to kind of promote my academic work out there. But one of my academic papers was censored. I believe it was one of my Trinity papers, and there was no way for me to even appeal the censorship there. They kept trying to push a premium membership down my throat every time I logged in as well. And there was a lot of nutty people on there as well that were trying to contact me and trying to get information and stuff out of me to the point where I felt like this is just not really a useful way of sharing my academic work. So I've moved my academic work over to parkernathan.com and onto my patron store and through my newsletters, and that's what I'll be using moving forward. My fictional writings are on fan fiction as well. There's a link to that on parkernathan.com, and I am enjoying posting my fictional writings out there and giving people a chance to comment on them. You do have to be careful on there too, because you do have some scammers and stuff that try to say, hey, I'm an artist and I'll draw you some artwork if you go on Discord and pay me and blah blah blah. So when you see the nuts that try to message you on there, just ignore them. But other than that, there are some people on there that can truly enjoy reading content that you post and share, and it's still a good outlet for me to post fictional writings. Goodreads, I had a account with them where I was sharing my reading progress, and I shut it down when I shut down my Amazon account. I have no interest in staying on that either. I'm just going to be tracking my reading list myself on my own devices without doing it through social media. And I also, final platform that I've evaluated, Yelp. I used to post Yelp reviews of businesses over the years, and I quit doing that as well. Some people enjoyed my reviews, but it wasn't enough to really stay in it, and so I decided to just shut it down. In terms of the messaging apps that are available, I've used Signal, Telegram, Discord, Marco Polo, over the years. I'm no longer on Telegram. I had some account issues, and so I just let that one go. Still on Signal and use it for messaging a few people that don't have iPhones, or groups of people that don't have iPhones and need a place to message. Discord I'm using primarily for ham radio, for my ham radio volunteer exams that I give, and for interacting with some other hams. And I'm using Marco Polo as well for some other volunteer work that I'm doing. I'm not paying any subscriptions for those either. And I have no interest in Snapchat, period. Not on it, not interested in using it. In terms of the video platforms, I'm hosting my videos now primarily on Rumble. I'm not paying a premium subscription there either, but I'm hosting my videos there. I don't have any videos hosted on YouTube anymore, because when I had videos hosted on YouTube, there was some very obscene videos and ads that would show up alongside my videos, and that's why I pulled from YouTube and went elsewhere. I, for a while, had stuff on Vimeo, but I pulled from there because I was having to pay an annual fee on there, and Rumble is free and still high quality, so that's where I'm hosting my videos moving forward. So I hope this podcast was useful. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to just talk about how I scaled back my use of social media. Some things that I'm doing with how I'm using social media more purposefully, what platforms that I've kept and what platforms that I'm not using, and just an evaluation of those, as well as some alternatives to social media as well, if you do decide to quit it cold turkey or at least scale back your time. I will have some more newsletters on this topic coming that you can read as well, but I just wanted to take a little bit of time and discuss this in a podcast format as well. So thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Parker's Podcast, and I will see you in a future episode.